Most of us, we have no clue how to be completely at ease resting in the body, because it feels so uncomfortable for most people that they just try to get out of it.
Yeah, but also the pressures of modern life are so intense.
Exactly.
There's so much going on. There's so much information and demands and
Yes.
feelings of things you have to achieve and do, and you have to earn money and
Yes.
all the rest of it, all the things that we all know too well.
We're going to come to this a little later,
Yeah.
but let's start because we were speaking about how the body follows our focus. So you were saying when
Okay.
the focus is tight, what's your experience? How does the body respond to a tight focus?
Well, if I get tight, I'm more focused, I'm more alert in one way,
Yeah.
but I somehow have less options.
Fantastic. So what I've noticed is that this system, the nervous system, the cells, the muscles, the organs, the way the system is experiencing itself is following the quality of our focus, of our attention. So if there's a narrow focus, a tight focus, the body contracts. It is
Okay.
following it. The moment the focus is relaxed, we let it, like on the beach, when we go to holidays, we are finally not needing to focus. We enjoy this, and what's happening that the body, the whole organism, starts to relax too. Isn't
It
it?
starts to recharge as well.
It start in that recharge. What it means in relaxation, we start to drop deeper into our body, and we can contain more of life. We can contain more of what's actually happening around us, which is energy. Under the functioning of a narrow focus, we can't charge. We actually mostly running on kind of battery. So that's why we're enjoying sleep so much. So if you go to rest every night, have you ever tried to fall asleep with a narrow focus?
Well, it takes time. I have to put some work in to relax myself.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
why we enjoy sleep so much is because in that very moment when we fall asleep, what's actually happening is that any tightening of the focus suddenly opens up and falls into nothingness. So the question is, can we live with that wide focus, which is actually like sleeping? It's a focus that sleeps as we are in the body, as we are normally awake, as the body is awake.
Living a normal life.
Living a normal life. What makes it so difficult that we believe and that we have a kind of conditioning in our nervous system that we inherited over generations, that to achieve something in life, to be in life, to deal with the daily aspects of life, we need to focus. We are trained from early childhood on, if you want to go for something, you have to concentrate, you have to know what you want and go for it. Which means generating willpower. Willpower is nothing else but a narrow focus, concentration, and building up a very tight relationship to what you think you want to achieve. So we're all running on that narrow mode, and mostly we don't feel well with it. We are so hooked on that idea of achieving something or on that narrow focus that we have lost the capacity to enjoy ourselves, to be at ease in the body and still do the things that we want to do in life.
But I think, Florian, it's important to point out, as we're talking about focus, it isn't necessarily always a bad thing. It's the energy behind, as I experience it, it's the energy behind the focus. Focus can be great, but it's if I'm too narrow and I'm tight with my focus. On the other hand, focus and concentration and commitment can also be a quality which we can actually...
Let's distinguish very clearly, because you actually mentioned three things.
Okay.
So it's very useful if you drive a car to be focused. If you don't, you will have a crash right at the next traffic light. So
Which
it's
is
very
fully
useful.
inconvenient, absolutely.
Very convenient, very practical. So I'm not speaking about this.
Okay.
I'm also not speaking about to be one-pointed to get things done. Because if you cut vegetables, it's good to be one-pointed, otherwise you're going to cut your finger. Also, this is doubtless. What I'm speaking about is how our system moves habitually, which is that in most of us, in our nervous system, we contain a very high level of unconscious stress energy.
Yes.
What is stress? Stress basically is fear energy. It's stored fear energy in the cells, in the tissue, that has not discharged from the system. Some people call it a dysfunctional way of how the nervous system is organized. In Western psychology, some people would call it traumatized. I don't like that word because it is so charged with meaning that please forget it again. For me, it is simply that most of us, we contain, some of us even have inherited this from our parents, a tremendous amount of unconscious stress and fear energy. So what does this energy do now? Now we have to understand this, because that's why people get so quickly caught up in psychological considerations, which it is not. We are dealing basically with a physical matter here. If there is fear and stress energy in the nervous system, what it does, that the moment the system is experiencing something that is beyond its normal capacity to handle, the system goes into a kind of shock mode. Shock means it contracts, and the whole system gets tight. Maybe you have had this when you meet somebody, for example, who's angry, and and you feel that energy, that your system automatically contracts even if you don't want this, like a reflex. What's happening in the moment of contraction is that it pulls our focus, like a reflex, to the object that we're dealing with. And in that whole mechanism, we cannot do much about it because it is a physical reaction. The same if you go to the doctor's, he takes the hammer and taps your knee. Have you noticed this? Your knee twitches.
There isn't anything you can do.
There's nothing you can do. The knee twitches, and even if you are the strongest personality and trained your willpower, you will not be able to control that reflex. And it is the same with our nervous system when there is unconscious stress. The moment it is triggered, the system goes into this kind of shock-like reaction, pulls the attention tight, and tries to protect now the system from overwhelm.
Okay.
What it means, the system gets tight and narrow and builds up protection and defense mechanisms, which is basically what we're running on. That's the mode we're running on. Trying to get what we like and trying to avoid what we don't like, which is nothing else, protection and defense, if we see it like this. So most of us, what it also happens in the moment of that reflex is that our system energetically tries to disembody. What it means, disembody, is that in the moment of fear and stress, there's pain in the body. There's tremendous amount of unconscious pain, physical pain, emotional pain, and energetic pain. And as we don't know how to meet that pain, the only option we have is trying to get out of the body. Which means the energy is pumped up and mostly gets stuck here. So we start to think, trying to get out of the thing, and our attention also only observes the thinking. Have you noticed
So we
this?
think about something else to avoid the feeling of the pain.
To be completely embodied, because it's not that we avoid this consciously, we're actually doing this as a reflex. It's happening to us. There's, in this, again, hammer and tap at the doctor. There's nothing we can do until we become aware of this. But now we're getting caught up in this catch-22. The moment our attention is already up here, our option to become aware are like this, almost none. We only build up a relationship of me thinking, like this, like a walking head.
So the one that we were talking about at the beginning of the program, who's watching all this going on, it's somehow there's the curtains pulled over and he's out to
It's
lunch.
inaccessible.
Yeah.